2 for you. You like playing Everton, and that's 8 in 6.
Yeah, I've got a good record against these. Just
as Kieran going past. 2 for you. You like playing Everton, and that's 8 in 6.
Yeah, I've got a good record against these. Just getting an opportunity to play, you want to take that chance and repay that faith with goals. That's all you can do.
First one, classic poacher's goal. Second one's a peach, isn't it?
Yeah, it was nice. Everyone's saying it's not me. We was practicing yesterday, to be honest. One of them didn't go in, didn't score a goal, and then today obviously put one in the top corner, which is always nice, and help the team get the 3 points.
Getting the occasional bit of time with Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
Wow, what he did for the fourth, unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a top player, and you want to play with good players all the time, and unfortunately we play in the same position a lot of the time. When he plays out wide, he can do things like that as well. Obviously, I'm more of a natural 9, he's more of a wide player, and yeah, it's good partnership, and yeah, everything we do is for them.
Top 4, I mean, it's got to be now, isn't it? You can't blow this.
It's getting closer, the games are running out, and we're picking up points still, so we're going in the right direction.
I'll play tonight.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
2 goals for Callum Wilson tonight, celebrating in front of the travelling Toon Army, who are sticking around after the final whistle to celebrate. They love a number 9 in Newcastle, and they have 2 strikers in form at the moment. A 4-1 win for Newcastle here at Goodison Park this evening then. This is what else has happened in the Premier League this week. Villa beat Fulham, Leeds and Leicester drew. Manchester City landed what could be the decisive knockout blow to Arsenal's title chances, winning 4-1 at the Etihad yesterday. There was a big win for Forest over Brighton. Chelsea lost their 5th successive game since the return of Frank Lampard. There was a huge win for Bournemouth this evening against Southampton in that one. Southampton had an 89th minute equaliser ruled out for offside in that one there. So a massive blow for the Saints this evening. And Manchester United are taking on Tottenham at the moment, with Man United 2-1 up. And this is how the table looks. Newcastle in full control of their Champions League destiny as they consolidate their position in the table. They're level on points with Man United as it stands, but 8 points clear of Villa. But Everton stay in the relegation. Rivals suffer another massive blow this evening. Look at Bournemouth though, they are up to 14th on 36 points now, and Forest as well out of the bottom 3. Well, Spurs against Man United still underway on BT Sport 1, and on Discovery Plus and Eurosport you will find the Snooker World Championships live at the Crucible. Also lots more live sport this weekend. On Saturday we have a London derby for you, Palace against West Ham. Also live rugby with the first of our 2 Champions Cup semi-finals. Leinster take on Toulouse, and on Sunday we have all the MotoGP race day action from Spain before second Champions Cup semi as Exeter Chiefs visit reigning champions La Rochelle. We will have more reaction, but it will be an assist that every travelling mag will be talking about for a long time to come. To Goodison Park, where Newcastle have beat Everton 4-1. That is 10 goals in their last 2 games, and the Magpies boss Eddie Howe joins us now. Eddie, congratulations. Have beat Everton 4-1. That is 10 goals in their last 2 games, and the Magpies boss Eddie Howe joins us now. Eddie, congratulations on the win first of all. You said your team were going to need to be robust here tonight. How proud are you of the way they dealt with that atmosphere this evening?
Yeah, it was a very difficult game. We knew initially there was going to be a tough encounter to the match with what was at stake from Everton's perspective. We knew the crowd would be important for them, so it was really vital that we didn't concede early, and we tried to be solid early on. And yeah, I think it was a really good second half performance. I think that for me is the standout, and yeah, very pleased with that 45 minutes.
4 different goals, all good goals, but I think everyone who leaves here tonight from the travelling Toon Army is going to be talking about that Alexander Isak assist. Not an official assist, because it got the deflection off Tarkowski, which seems...
I was worried it was going to go out of play, but yeah, that's incredible football. I mean, he is such a unique player. He really is. He has the ability to do everything. I mean, here his close control and his footwork added to his speed is that's a real thing of beauty. That I'm up there with Michael. I'm agreeing with him.
Eddie, on the theme of Isaac, and of course the problem, or people say it's a nice problem, but you're the person that's got to solve that problem. You've got two strikers at the moment that are really in form, and okay, people will say, well, just play them both, but that's not, it's not as easy as said than done. How do you go about keeping both players fit, healthy, happy when you're having to swap and change? Keeping both players fit, healthy, happy when you're having to swap and change.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, but so far they've...
Army celebrating here. They're 1-0 up, and Michael Owen, Rachel Brown-Finnis and Jolien Lescott watching with me. It was a bright start from the Toffees, Michael, but how did that Newcastle goal come about just before the half-hour mark?
Yeah, it was a bright start from Everton. I thought they played particularly well in the first 10 minutes or so, but it's Newcastle. It's Newcastle that have got that decisive goal, and it was a decent enough goal from Newcastle's point of view. Down the left-hand side with Joe Linton, he cuts inside really nicely. You see here the way they build it up from the right, they switch the play and then out to Joe Linton, and he's very good in this situation now, very powerful. Maybe Everton could send him down onto his left foot, but he does cut inside. Great strike, and I like the finish actually. He could wait for it inside foot, but he actually toes it because Callum Wilson just gets that extra little bit, maybe a foot, and that can be all the difference when someone's about to tackle you.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, Everton, he is poor. Yarmolenko, he's obviously trying to get back in, and aesthetically he looks like a good position, but as Wilson pulls away and there's no one at the back stick, he has to stick with him. So, and you can see here is half a second, if that, too late. And
Mikalenko.
And we spoke about Calvert-Lewin before the match, Rachel. What did you make of his half? He thought he'd really given the home fans here something to cheer about just before half-time.
Oh, right at the end, wasn't it? It erupted, didn't it? And it was such a long decision it took for VAR to finally. So we know how close it was, but the way that the front three pressed, I thought was exceptional. And they set the tone for the whole of all of the units. And this early chance here, we saw him cut back, didn't we, in the last game that he started, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, cut inside, but Cher does really, really well to muscle him off the ball.
Yeah, I thought it was a great diagonal run, and I don't think he did much wrong there, Calvert-Lewin, and equally I don't think he does much wrong here as well. Of course, he's just offside. I mean, it's a beautiful finish. Look at that, he's backpedaling, and then he's making... And equally, I don't think he does much wrong here as well. Of course, he's just offside. I mean, it's a beautiful finish. Look at that, he's backpedaling, and then he's making almost a diagonal run, so he's doing all he can to be onside. He takes a big touch there. I think that's on purpose to suck the goalkeeper in before he dinks it, and as we see there, only just offside.
yeah, it was so close. And overall, I don't think Everton have been deflated by the goal. I still think the press and the attitude and application has been great, but I think going forward, the fans are getting frustrated with some of the passes going a bit astray. So I think Sean Dyche is going to have to change something offensively, because at the minute it just seems like they're winning the ball back rather than having the quality to create something.
Yeah, they are 1-0 down. It was Newcastle who silenced the home crowd here. Callum Wilson with his 12th Premier League goal of the season, and the Toffees have only won one.
You know, Jacob Murphy, Willock has just come into fantastic form, was brilliant again tonight. Set pieces, you've got, you know, Kieran Trippier amongst others. Bruno Guimaraes has been outstanding this season. Joe Linton has come into goal-scoring form from his, you know, his more advanced midfield role. So it's coming from literally everywhere. And on Joe Linton, it's fantastic. You see his run, joins in, gets him in that gap that came all too familiar tonight from an Everton's perspective. But Joe Willock was involved, just goes 1v1, doesn't he, up against Ben Godfrey, who had a bit of a torturous night.
I think that's one thing of Joe Willock's game, that he's underestimated his pace. I remember early in the season when he ran at Carl Walker and went, I'm going to go past you. And you don't see many players attempt to do that. So the fact that he's easily goes past Godfrey, who's pretty quick himself, he's got a lot of confidence in his game at the moment.
How far away can he be from an England call-up?
Well, he's got to be close, hasn't he? I mean, there's players out there at the moment that aren't playing too much for their clubs. I'm thinking of the likes of Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden, but they're players that have done brilliantly for England in the past. But if it's on form, then of course Willock, you know, probably gets in the England squad. That was a brilliant piece of play there. not much pace on the cross, which is why Joe Linton, I thought it was a great finish. You know, you could really see him using his neck muscles to head it down and into the far corner, putting all the pace on the header. But brilliant goal. I mean, talking of Joe Willock, talking of Joe Linton, the list goes on. This team has been unbelievable, brilliant to watch this season, and we've just been standing by, surely, manager of the season as well. I mean, he's just reinvigorated that whole place, and I know full well when there's momentum up there, it's hard to stop, and Newcastle are certainly going places.
Yeah, again, if you look at their bench and what he has at his disposal, I don't think there's many other teams, barring City, that have many of as effective forward players as Newcastle. I think every player that comes on, whether he starts or comes on as a sub, they contribute and are so effective. So, again, it must be a great problem to have, because every player that plays, starts or doesn't, is effective.
Yeah, those forward players really delivering for Newcastle at the moment. 10 goals in their last. So the Toon Army celebrating here. They're 1-0 up, and Michael Owen, Rachel Brown-Finnis and Jolien Lescott watching with me. It was a bright start from the Toffees, Michael, but how did that Newcastle goal come about just before the half-hour mark?
Yeah, it was a bright start from Everton. I thought they played particularly well in the first 10 minutes or so, but it's Newcastle that have got that decisive goal, and it was a decent enough goal from Newcastle's point of view. Down the left-hand side with Joe Linton, he cuts inside really nicely. You see here the way they build it up from the right, they switch the play and then out to Joe Linton, and he's very good in this situation now, very powerful. Maybe Everton could send him down onto his left foot, but he does cut inside. Great strike, and I like the finish actually. He could wait for it inside foot, but he actually toes it, because Callum Wilson just gets that extra little bit, maybe a foot, and that can be all the difference when someone's about to tackle you.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, Everton, he's poor. Yarmolenko, he's obviously trying to get back in, and aesthetically he looks like a good position, but as Wilson pulls away and there's no one at the back stick, he has to stick with him. So, and you can see here he's half a second, if that, too late, and if he stays with him, I don't think Wilson gets a clean strike on that.
He switches off, he runs back into position, but then Wilson's got the presence of mind to kind of check his run, and that's where the space is created from Mykolenko.
And we spoke about Calvert-Lewin before the match, Rachel. What did you make of his half? He thought he'd really given the home fans here something to cheer about just before half-time.
Oh, right at the end.
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.